I'd love to hear your advice. There's lots of... I'm a mum to boy-girl twins, and there's lots of support and advice about how to support my daughter, and lots of very strong voices, but actually, of late, there's a concern around what are we doing to responsibly bring up our sons as well. What would you say to parents out here who've got sons? How do they tackle everyday feminism?
Well, I mean, I really think that we need to allow boys to be vulnerable, to teach boys to be vulnerable, to give them the language of emotion. And I find that in reading about different cultures, it cuts across everywhere, this kind of masculinity that we have constructed. And I think it's just terrible for boys that when a little boy falls down, still, very often, he's not expected to cry. That little girls get more sort of love and hugs. And I think boys need to get as much hugs, and that we should expect vulnerability from them, teach them vulnerability. And I think the idea of sort of that strength is overrated, because I think it just makes people perform and pretend. I think masculinity is a terrible cage. I do think that many men feel trapped in it, and the way to undo it, sometimes I think it's too late for men who are adults, sadly, but the way to undo it is to start very early, to not create that cage, to not expect the boy to be strong and to be the provider, actually to shame him when he doesn't cry. Because I think shame is actually quite a potent force. So expect him to cry. And
Mary, you've got
and I think also we need to tell girls that it's okay for boys to cry. Because that's something else that the expectations of women, I think, sometimes hold back the behavior of men.
I think that's absolutely right. And I think that I've got a boy and a girl. And, well, they're now over 30. But I think when they were young, I was much too hung up on the kind of practicalities of it. I was much too hung up in kind of pressing Barbie dolls to my son and making my daughter play with trains, when actually that's just an epiphenomenon. Really what was at stake, and what I think I didn't see then was precisely what Chimamanda's talked about. In the end, it doesn't matter who wears pink. It matters who's allowed to cry.
Mm.